The following episode of Bread for the People is brought to you by Side Hustle Bread, Long Island's handcrafted artisanal bread company. Side Hustle Bread is a family-run virtual bakery that's bringing the neighborhood feel back to Long Island, one loaf at a time. Head on over to sidehustlebread.com for more information, upcoming appearances, and merchandise. My name's Jim Serpico, and this... Should I start with my name? Or should I start with This Is Bread for the People? Do you like it like this? Welcome to Bread. Or do you like it like this? Welcome. Ready? Welcome to Bread for the People. Mine... Fuck. Is there a script? What's up, guys? Jim Serpico here from Side Hustle Bread and Bread for the People. So about a year ago, I was on the Boomer and Gio show on WFAN. Maybe it was a little more than a year ago. The whole situation was absolutely crazy. I thought I'd tell you guys a little bit about how it all went down. I was at the deli baking. I was working on some new stuff, and my friend Gerald Kirshner gave me a call. He's listening to the Boomer and Gio show every morning, and he's like, these guys are talking about a new sandwich at the Sayville Deli called the Boomer and Gio sandwich, and they're flipping out because they need a bread, and they're not sure what bread it is. They know it has to be garlic bread. They know it's going to have roast beef. They know it's going to have coleslaw. And there was this whole debate going back and forth, and my friend's like, here's the phone number. Just call up the studio. I'm like, what do you mean call up the studio? He goes, trust me. Just call the studio, see what happens. So I call up. Somebody picks up the phone. Hello, Boomer and Gio show. I'm like, hey, my name's Jim. I'm a Long Island bread maker. Hold on. I didn't even get to finish the sentence. They put me on hold. About 20 seconds later, like, Jim from Long Island, you're on the air. We understand you're a bread guy. And I pitched some stupid idea. I don't even remember at this point what it was. I think it was a focaccia or something. And they're like, you know what, Jim? Instead of like shooting it down, the hilarious thing is, it was the worst idea I could have pitched. But these guys say, you know what, Jim? Why don't you just come in the studio? Hold on, we'll put you on the phone with Al. Then I'm on hold. I'm waiting for Al for like 30 minutes. And he's, boring Al. Hey, Jim, they said they want you on. Al, yeah, I'm ready to go. Jim, you think you get that Thursday? Whatever. Yeah, I'll be there Thursday. And then I don't hear from Al for a couple days. Probably a week. And then all of a sudden I get the email, can you be in here the next day? So now we're scrambling. We got to bring all kinds of bread over. We got to make sure that this goes well. This is a big shot for us. And the funny thing is I get the address, and it's Viacom. I used to produce the Comedy Central roasts. I was in Viacom's building 2 months before this radio appearance, pitching a new television series. I created a cartoon animated series for them called Shorties Watching Shorties, and here I am. I got to park my car. I got to roll a push cart with a box that's about 4 feet long with 35 loaves of bread and a T-shirt that says Side Hustle Bread. And, of course, the day I go, it's fucking 85 degrees. I'm sweating my ass off, and I'm pushing my cart down the block. I'm like, please don't let any of these fucking executives that I know, who don't know I'm in the bread business, by the way, because I did not tell anybody I was baking bread on the side because I thought they would think I'm doing it because I have to. Like, they think I'm baking bread because I'm destitute. So I go into the lobby. Oh, I try to go into the lobby. I can't get through the revolving door because my fucking cart of bread is so fucking big. And I go through the side, and the fucking security guard, he runs at me. He goes, dude, delivery guy. I go, hey, I'm not a delivery guy. I'm actually going on I'm a guest. I'm going on the air. He goes, take your delivery, and you go to the loading dock where all the other delivery guys go, and bring your bread, and they'll call someone down for you. So I'm like, all right. So I'm half humiliated. I'm half relieved that none of these executives that I know, none of them spotted me with my cart of bread. So I roll around the corner. I find the loading dock, and I roll my cart. It's a steep hill, right? So my cart is sliding down the hill. I'm trying to, I have so much bread. I'm trying to hold it so I don't crash into the thing and humiliate myself even more. And I get up to the security booth, and there's this middle-aged woman in there who won't look me in the eye. I don't think it was personal to me. I think she was doing a word search. You know, essentially that's how she passes time. I appreciate the word search. It was one of the easy word searches. It was like 5-letter words, basic words. I think it had a rating of 1 of 5 in terms of word search complexity. So I don't hold it against her, but I go, excuse me, I need to bring my bread up to Boomer. And she won't look at me. She's like, you need to call upstairs. If you got their lunch, you know what to do. You know the drill. You've been here before. I go, actually, I haven't been here before. I've never been to the loading dock. I've been to the front of the building. She goes, listen, player, you call them up. They come down. They pick up the lunch, and you go away. And she's still looking down, trying to fill in a word here and there. I go, listen, this is not lunch. This bread is going on the radio. And then she finally looks up and she goes, you expect me to believe this bullshit that your bread is going on the radio? I go, well, listen, I'm bringing the bread. The bread is going on the radio with me. I am a guest on the air. And she goes, oh, you're a guest on the air, huh? Well, call upstairs. Somebody will come down and they'll get their lunch. It's not the lunch. I go, listen to me, ma'am. Please shut the word search. I'm telling you, I'm going on the air. She calls upstairs. She looks at me. He's like, they'll be right down. So Jerry Recco comes downstairs. And he says, Jim, thanks for coming. Really appreciate it. Come this way. He takes me down the hallway. We go up the elevator. Very nice man. I think Jerry is very talented. Jerry knows his stuff. Certainly knows the sports. And he's also a gentleman. I really respect this guy. So he sets me up. There's a bunch of cubicles outside the studio. I peek through the window. I see Boomer. I see Gio. I see Al Duke standing up. He's bouncing around. He's bouncing. And I could hear the stream. I could hear the thing of the guys coming. And there's a break, and they go to commercial. And Boomer comes outside, and he makes a beeline right to me. Nobody else. He shakes my hand. He introduces himself to me. He's the nicest guy in the world. Jim, thank you for coming. And in my mind, I'm like, I don't know these guys. My friend Gerald told me to call them to see if I could get on the air. And here I am. I'm standing in the studio in a building I've produced many shows for. And now all of a sudden I'm the bread guy. I'm wearing a bread outfit. I got a bread box. I got a cart with 4 wheels. One of the wheels is falling off because it was my son's DJ cart, and he never screwed the nut on, and I didn't know I had to screw the nut. So as I'm rolling down the street, the wheel keeps falling off. I got to be putting the wheel on, and it's 85 degrees and humid. By the time I get up there, I'm drenched in sweat. I've got like 55 semolina loaves. And Boomer says, why don't we take this out? Let's see what you got. And he lays it out, and he's spending time with me. And how long you been making bread? You know, boom. I'm a hobbyist, to be honest with you. I've been getting a little serious about it since the pandemic. What do you mean you're a hobbyist? You're in here, don't you? Isn't this what you do for a living? I go, yeah. I mean, I do it on the side. That's why it's called side hustle, boom. And what do you do? I said, well, I actually produce television, and I manage comedians. At the time, I was working with Jim Brewer. I had just left my position running Dennis Leary's production company for 25 years. I tell him the thing, and he's like looking at me, kind of smiles, but then he goes back into the studio, and I'm sitting there waiting because I think I'm coming on soon. Here's a little clip of what I heard.
I mean, he brought in, how much bread did he bring in?
Well, he had a cart that he wheeled in here loaded with bread.
So that's Al Dukes, who said he had a cart that he wheeled in here loaded with bread, and then they start talking about me being a producer. And Al cracks a joke that was actually funny for Al, and he says, you know, I hear Ken Burns is making muffins. They call him the Muffin Man. Sarcastic, funny. I'm laughing. They're laughing. Gio's like completely perplexed, trying to figure out what's going on. He's like, what do you mean? He works with these people. He produced these shows, and he doesn't believe it. And they're talking about whatever. And meanwhile, Gio's on a computer, not paying attention, but he's typing into the computer.
So this guy, Jim Serpico, was a partner with Dennis Leary for 25 years and also repped Jim Brewer. And then got into this bread manufacturing. At least that's what he told me out there.
Interesting. So he was an agent for comedians?
I think he was a producer with Dennis Leary for like 24, 25 years.
Wow.
And then also worked with Jim Brewer. At least,
yeah, Jim Serpico, television producer.
He is now the bread man.
How the hell? He's got a Wikipedia page.
Yeah.
Okay, so Gio is like I said, he's perplexed. They're having fun with this thing, and it's all ramping up. Boom had actually tasted the bread on the commercial break. Now there's another commercial break, and Boom comes back outside. He's my buddy now, so I could call him Boom, right? And he brings Gio, and he introduces me to Gio. And Gio's looking at me, and he's staring at me. He's looking at the bread. He's tasting the bread. He's liking the bread. But I don't think he really gives a shit about the bread. I think he's trying to find out what the fuck went wrong with me. Why am I here with bread, sweating, with a cart with 3 wheels and another wheel on the floor? So finally, I get in the studio. I'm actually very comfortable in the studio on the microphone. I have done my turn on television. I have done numerous live appearances, and here's what Gio says.
Good morning, Jim. First off, can you tell us what the hell, how'd you get here?
I don't even know how it happened. At the beginning of the pandemic, we started posting pictures of our prosciutto bread, and I'm talking about me and my kids and my wife.
Yeah.
And people started to ask to order it. Week 1, we got like 10 friends saying, could we order the prosciutto bread? Week 2, 20, 25. By the month and a half in, it was like 75. We're now at 700 loaves a week.
Jeez.
It was.
I'm taking that loaf home, by the way. I'm staking claim to the prosciutto bread.
Up until about 5 months ago, it was all out of my house.
So now looking back on it, Gio's question, what are you doing here, had nothing to do with why I was there at the moment. It really had to do with, why are you making bread? What happened to you? What happened to your star? That's what he meant. And they never followed through with it. God bless them, although I would have loved to talk about it, because nothing happened to my star. But regardless, my reason for being there was to provide these guys with a vessel to put their roast beef and their coleslaw on the sandwich named after Boomer and Gio at the Sayville Sandwich Shop in Sayville. Now, one of the greatest parts of this whole story, besides out of nowhere I end up on the air with no vetting process. I could have been a crazy man. I'm a crazy man, but like a different kind of crazy man. They let me in the studio, and they never tasted my bread before this. And we're talking, and they're going through it, man, and they're eating and tasting their bread, and it's going well, and they love the bread, and they finally pick a bread that they want to choose to be the bread for their sandwich. As far as I know, the sandwich may or may not have been made. We never heard back from them again. I did follow up with Al Dukes to see if there was a resolution, because when I left the studio, we left that they were going to set a call and a meeting between us and the Sayville Sandwich Shop, and that never happened. We never heard from Boomer and Gio again. I have to assume the sandwich was probably made, and I have to assume that there was a bread man probably in one of the boroughs that was not happy that some outside bread was being brought in. I could be wrong about that. I'm not sure I'll ever find out the answer, but we did not end up providing the bread for the Boomer and Gio sandwich if it was indeed made. One day I'll make a trip out to the Sayville Sandwich Shop and find out for myself. That day, I got phone calls from actors that I've worked with over the years. I got messages on Instagram and Facebook from people around the country that I didn't even know. And now people are trying to order our bread around the country. And it's been a year since I was on the show, but people still mention it. People still remember. Like, people are diehard fans of that show. They love the whole thing. And anybody who they feel is a character related to that show, they love. And it's funny. It's something that we feel to this day. And it's still unbelievable to me how it all came together so quickly without really knowing these guys. And I really had fun, and I think they're the best. There was some talk before while I was waiting outside. Check this one out.
You're going to ask him if he's like related to Serpico or anybody? Because his last name is Serpico.
You can ask him. You're the one who's interested.
Kind of interesting. All right, so what do you think of semolina?
This is awesome. Good. This is so good.
So they never asked me if I was related to the cop. And the experience at the end of the day was absolutely amazing. I had a lot of fun. I had a lot of laughs. It's a good story to talk about. It was great for our company. So I do thank Boomer and Gio. Oh, if anybody is listening to this podcast and knows if the sandwich was made or not, please let me know. If anyone lives in Sayville, if there are any Solettis listening to this that live in Sayville, because my producing partner, Tom Soletti's from Sayville. He has about 80 relatives named Soletti that live in Sayville. Please stop over to the Sayville Sandwich Shop, find out whatever happened to the sandwich, and that's what's going on. If you like what you're hearing on Bread for the People, please subscribe, rate, and review. We come out with new episodes every Monday, and I thank you guys for listening. Wish you all a great day. Blessed be the bread, everyone.